Next, on the Best of John Miller, Rusty is no dummy, but he has a job that many people might consider a little crazy.
This is crazy. Well, no, because it's planned.
It's the eye-catching feature on the side of a downtown Boise building. John unlocks the secret of this second-story safe. Meet Merle Tippett.
Oh, go away.
She's a lunch lady who provided more than a full belly. She served up smiles for 2 generations of Treasure Valley kids. And
Dusty day finds me covered with grit, longing for rain.
deep thoughts for 2 bits. Forget the gumballs. John takes us to a place where poetry comes from vending machines.
Discover the lighter side of Northwest living as Idaho's News Channel 7 presents The Best of John Miller.
From the funny to the moving, we welcome you to another episode of The Best of John Miller. Hi, everybody. I'm Mark Johnson. Coming up, a snowman where there's no snow and a safe in a very safe place. But first, Rusty Haight's been in literally hundreds of car crashes, and insurance companies love him. So you better buckle up for this story as John finds out exactly why Rusty is so driven to the brink of disaster.
It's just another day at the office for Rusty Haight. Here it is again. Need another look? One more? The fact is, we could go on all day. So could Rusty. Such is the life of a human crash test dummy. How many times have you crashed?
738 times now. Why not just use a crash test dummy? Well, we do.
It's just that Rusty believes you can't always learn enough from a dummy. Begging the question, who's the real dummy?
Who's driving? Yeah. Oh, yeah, you're in the wrong seat. Actually, no, I have a crash dummy mask, which is really handy when I'm going through traffic. People get out of my way. I've met 54 airbags now up close. So far, I mean, the sum total of my injuries, I have the tiniest little remnant of a scar on my wrist from an airbag seam.
So is that bruising?
Just the reddening right here is from where the bag opened.
You see, Rusty is the director of the Collision Safety Institute. Safety, apparently a relative term.
I have a high tolerance for pain.
His recs are used to train the police and insurance people who investigate accidents and occasionally to entertain them.
Don't hit the pole, don't hit the pole.
Each time it's a little bit different, it's a little more exciting.
Each time. Over and over and under and behind and on top of and into.
Through. You missed through.
Oh, through. This is crazy.
Well, no, because it's planned. That's the difference.
Planned? How do you plan that?
Well, see, I believe in the concept that if you know how people did get hurt in a given crash, you should be able to do the reverse and plan one where you don't get hurt. Just another day at the office.
Rusty Haight not entirely sure where or when this ride will end, but
A friend of mine told me what's going to be on my tombstone.
What's that?
I told you that last one was too fast.
Then we'll know.
Then we'll know.
Another ho-hum day at the office.
Hope Rusty remembers when he's off the clock. He's off the clock, okay? All right, it could be one of the weirdest weather phenomenons ever caught on camera, or it's someone's pre-winter practical joke. Either way, it's something out of the ordinary, and that's when we call for John, whether he likes it or not.
Just when you think there's nothing left to talk about, someone goes and builds this. And since no one was home to talk about the snowman, built without snow, we had to go ask the neighbors.
Do you know where they got the snow?
No.
Have you seen it?
No.
Can I show you?
Can you show me?
Yeah, I'm serious. Come on.
You guys are pulling my leg.
Turns out no one knew a single thing about the snowman built without snow, except who built it.
Glenn Richards from Channel.
That's right. He works for the enemy.
Great. It's a Channel snowman.
Yeah. They're the Richards.
Yeah, we found out that
Cameraman for Channel.
you're not allowed to say that.
Cut.
It sort of posed an interesting problem for my Channel 7 producers.
Guess whose snowman it is? The chief photographer for Channel.
Clint Richards. Technically, you've seen him on Channel 7 a million times. Couldn't hurt to show his snowman just this once.
I'll bet he hasn't even thought of doing a story on it.
course, it was about now that we remembered we ought to at least solve the mystery of the snowless snowman.
The kids brought it back from Bogus, I think, 2 nights ago.
Okay.
And at 10 o'clock at night, they were out there building it.
Maybe a bogus ending to a bogus story about a snowman built by a guy at Channel. Still,
It worked for Channel 7.
Darn straight it will.
okay.
I didn't even know there was a channel in this market. All right, you know, Erwin Howell of Nampa loves to talk about his family. I mean, who doesn't? He'll tell you about his children, his great-grandchildren, his great-great-grandchildren. Heck, he'll even tell you about his parents, grandparents, and great-grandparents, and that's just about where John picks up this story.
If you ever meet Erwin Howell, think twice before you ask him about his family.
Yes, many people claim they're related to some famous person.
So about 15 years ago, Erwin started searching backwards.
And it keeps it going, and it keeps it going, and it keeps it going. I have my birth certificate, I have my mother's, my father's, and their death certificates, and their marriage certificates.
And papers and files and photocopies all the way back to the Mayflower.
But they not only came over on it, you found that part of your family
Owned it.
Only names, no faces, but photographs of headstones.
And it keeps it going. Takes about 15 of these charts just to list them.
Seemingly halfway back to the Stone Age.
William the Conqueror, Charlemagne.
Oh, yeah.
Charlemagne.
King Charlemagne?
That's right.
You're related to King
Oh,
Charlemagne?
yes. Oh, yeah. He's about my 30th great-grandfather.
Now, if this home genealogist drew up a family tree,
You'd have basically a redwood forest there.
Yeah, something like that.
so instead he stuffed it all in a book called the Howell Chronicles.
How many photocopies do you think you've made in 15 years?
Well, it takes 200 for each book, and I've made at least 30 books.
So you've made like 60,000
Oh,
photocopies?
thousands. And it just kind of goes along and keeps it folding and keeps it going. And
Way back to Mary Kenyon.
well, she was right closely related to Pocahontas.
Yes, in one tiny office, Erwin Howell has discovered entire civilizations of ancestors.
And I would love to be able to say I'm descended from our founding fathers.
But he can say his great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandfather owned the Mayflower.
And I can prove it.
Yeah.
I have a document.
I've traced my genealogy all the way back to Grandpa Howard Johnson. He only had one flavor back then. Erwin tells John he's documented 700 actual names, and that's just on his mother's side of the family. He doesn't plan on giving it up until he becomes a piece of history. John always rolls over for a cute animal story. Later, he shows us some of the interesting dogs and people you can meet at the dog show. And next, we think you'll be touched by the story of Merle Tibbetts.
Because she's a really nice lady. And I don't know if we're going to get another nice lunch lady.
Find out what this school lunch lady is doing since hanging up her apron. We're back. Do you remember your old school lunches, mystery meat and plastic macaroni and cheese? That put hair on your chest, stuck to your ribs. Do you know what your kids are eating for lunch? Well, there was a time when Merle Tibbetts did. She dished out hot lunches to Boise kids every day. She maybe even served you once. She worked as a school lunch lady for half her life. John met her back in '98, just as he was getting ready to dish up her last lunch.
Pizza!
How many of these pizzas are we going to go through today there, Merle?
46.
46?
Multiply that by 4 decades and you'll discover Merle Tibbetts loves to make school pizzas and hates doing interviews.
Yes, I do.
Really hates doing interviews.
Oh, go away.
She figures she's been here about 40 years.
It's near 40. Whoa. Because they don't even have a record of when the first 2 years I worked. See, that was back in prehistoric times.
Way back when they actually served lime jello.
We even had to peel the potatoes.
And now, even if milk still cost a nickel, that wouldn't stop them from paying with credit cards. But how many times in history have you seen a kid walk up and hug the lunch lady for no reason? Or could it be the realization that just like lime jello and peeled potatoes, even the school lunch lady can't stick around forever?
She's gonna retire, you know what that is, right? What do you think of that?
Well, I don't like it very much.
Why not?
Because she's a really nice lady. And I don't know if we're going to get another nice lunch lady.
You'll miss them, won't you?
Yes, I will. There's not many bad kids.
Yeah. Okay.
That's enough now.
After all, no one's ever seen the lunch lady get all wishy-washy.
No, but I'll miss them all, and I really love these kids.
Even when they turn the lunch zone into a war zone.
Well, you're all wait, we can't cut yours down there.
For 40 years of pizza and patience, they wish lunch lady Merle Tippett
good luck with her retirement.
We'll miss her.
Now, we spoke with Merle not too long ago. She says retirement was hard at first because she really missed those kids. So she returns to school as a volunteer, giving kids help with their eating and reading. Later, on the Best of John Miller. In goes the quarter, out comes the poetry. What else? John shows us where you can find this very unique vending machine. And up next, the secret is safe no more.
It's a closet.
John discovers what's inside this vault built into the side of a Boise building. All right, it's the mystery on Boise's Main Street. No, I'm not talking about the Boise Tower or that silly cruising tradition. This is so weird, so strange that John Miller could no longer ignore it. What am I talking about? Take a look.
Almost every day, Stephen LaFollette flips hot dogs while his son Jonathan flips Hot Wheels in the shadow of the old sauna building.
I never even noticed it when I first set up here.
It's kind of a weird thing.
Yeah, it is. It's, you know, my son was the first one to notice it.
Because once I was going to play over there, and I saw two doors.
One down here, another way up there, both with locks and combinations on the outside, but like me and most who pass by, Jonathan's more interested in the safe, safely stuck on the side of the second floor. What's in the safe?
A building.
It's definitely different.
It's always the same question.
Is that really a safe up there?
One thing's for sure.
It's upstairs.
Upstairs in the office where Jonathan says they make maps and people stop by.
And they want to know what's on the other side because they automatically think it has to do with money.
I want to know if there's any money in it.
But the map office people were sorry to say the only thing on the other side is the map office, where they keep boxes, a bicycle, and some paper clips.
It's a closet.
There is no gangster history here.
Not that we know of.
Which was a little disappointing to Jonathan and me. Nothing more to be said of that safe on the second floor. At least it solves the mystery over Main Street, and if it is only a closet...
Well, it's a good safe closet.
Yep.
Is it just me, or was Jonathan John Miller 30 years ago? Now, there is some benefit to the safe. The folks in the office tell John it makes a great breezeway in the summer, and since it's on the second floor, they don't have to worry about strangers wandering in off the streets. Still to come on the Best of John Miller. A place where you can get a latte served up with a side of poetry. First, though...
So once you get the maximum foof, he's ready to go, huh?
Yes.
The fairgrounds goes to the dogs. All right, how much do you love your dog? Odds are not as much as the folks John met a couple of years ago at the Western Idaho Fairgrounds. John turned out for an American Kennel Club national competition. More than 130 breeds of dogs, all under one roof. Here's a peek at the pooches.
You know, you can tell you're at the dog show before you even leave the parking lot, because there between the dog vans and canine taxis are the chow-chows and whoop-ups. Some dogs are bigger than their owners, huh?
Yeah.
Others or not. And you know what they say about some dogs resembling their owners?
It goes both ways.
His name's Doers.
Doers.
Yeah, like the Scotch.
A Clumber Spaniel, one of hundreds of dogs to make the rounds at the dog show.
Now here's the other question I was going to ask. I've always seen these things on TV. How come they have to dress so nicely? I mean, wouldn't running shoes be more appropriate for this kind of thing? You got to do a lot of running in this.
The thought behind it is if you got a nice dog, you want to look nice with it. So you try to dress like you were going to church on Sunday.
But you're going to a dog show on Thursday.
Right.
So once you get the maximum foof, he's ready to go, huh?
Yes.
Dogs named
Vinny
and Butchie Boy. Every kind, every color. Darn near close to 101 Dalmatians inspected from end to end. She checks under the hood, everything,
Everything. She wants to make sure all the parts are there and that how they fit together.
Sends them this way and that way. By now, Doers, the Clumber Spaniel, was doing just fine. Him coming back there at the end, a little shake there.
Yeah,
you don't want that, do you?
You try to avoid it.
But wouldn't you know, Doers, the dog named after Scotch whiskey, was never really on the rocks because... How many of them are there here today?
One.
So, Doers, you're going on with the blue ribbon, buddy.
Yeah.
Say what you will about rare breeds, you'll find a whole lot of them at the dog show.
Ahead next.
I watch you fade against the jukebox while it plays your favorite song.
There once was a machine that had a tall order. It would sell you a poem for only $0.25. Yeah, I'm sorry. That's when we continue with the best of John Miller. You know, $0.25 won't buy you much these days, won't buy you a cup of coffee, but it will pay for your reading material at one Boise coffee house. Call it coin-operated creativity. John gathered up his loose change and cranked out this poetic story.
People come to the Flying M for the most exotic blends of coffee. The richness of steamed espresso, those special quiet moments spent reflecting, savoring life's simple pleasures. Oh, and the gumball machine. Do you think it's here for a while? Will it catch
It
on?
is, yeah, I think it's caught on.
They are. Who gets the gumball?
That's yours.
All right, thank you.
You see, the real prize isn't the gumball, but the poetry. Here, you get both for $0.25, thus the name, says shop owner Lisa Myers. Gumball poetry.
It is,
What is
yeah.
the concept here?
It's just having fun, being able to share your poetry for $0.25.
You think yourself invisible and become that what you believe.
We, contained by walls, sweep of savannah long lost.
You've been baby pinks for so long.
Built over graves of warriors who have never died.
And lots of people pull them out. And they go, whoa, this stuff's kind of deep.
It's very deep, yeah.
We had a guy over there reading it to his kids.
Oh, yeah?
This dusty day finds me covered with grit, longing for rain.
Did they get it?
No. Well, they like the ball.
Here's your ball. Sorry.
Thanks. Can you open mine?
Sure, Lola. Of course, the contents may be a little much for children.
The children of Geronimo race across the moon.
Or Chaucer, for that matter.
While eagle feathers hang from cowboys' hats. Okay. I'm trying to think about it still.
But hey, this gumball's great.
In fact, Lisa says the machine's owner fills it up every 3 months with poems by gumball poets across the country. You can feed your brain and your sweet tooth all for
Yes,
$0.25.
for $0.25. Can't beat it.
A cheap piece of chewing gum for the mind.
I watch you fade against the jukebox while it plays your favorite song.
What'll last longer to you, that poem or probably that gumball?
Probably the gumball.
That's about all for Miller, so now it's time for some filler. That machine, by the way, is still churning out poetry at the Flying M for only $0.25. Now the coffee shop also has a vending machine that sells small pieces of art, very small pieces of art, tiny little figurines. Well, that's going to do it for us. We'll see you back here next week for another edition of the Best of John Miller. So long, everybody.
Cue up the banjo music.
Idaho!
How's it going?
She is cheating.
Oh, man.
Revenge is sweet.
I'd say the odds of that happening with me are pretty much 0. Okay, 1% chance.
Oh, jeez.
You gotta be a little bit brave about it, man.
What does your wife think about this?